Hey healthy heroes, here's the first town mod wave battle from the Northeast Regional event 2024 at Alliance Gettysburg. Let's check out my scout's point of view while we chat about battlefield tactics and reflect about some neat concepts like leadership, immersion, responsibility, and community. I've been reflecting a lot about my character Nikhujo since this event. So here's the plot context. We came upon people, citizen races, who were destroying important eggs. No one opts for the roleplay route. The weekend is fresh here, and we're all froggy, meaning we're jumpy for a fight.
Good. Is this not a wall?
Little out-of-game clarification about the boundary of the wall. I'm behind the character Quincy here, who I know loves some good rogue flanking action, but he carries a shield, and he throws tinkering globes like shackles. So we're sweeping together, gauging what we're up against.
Yeah, that's it.
Squat dodge the archer packet, and use it as a chance to run in. Reloading packets does take a second. But Nick comes in swinging some big skills at me. I see Jeebus dart by. He and Quincy are also sniping around in this back line, but we're getting a little more isolated and outnumbered than I'd like. So I backpedal a little bit to not overextend so much. I end up taking on this shield guy solo, but I keep edging off to the side, trying to get the outside sweep in, so I can get myself into a position on their backs. Especially with Tyrion holding the front across from me there. Scout circle, hooray! Playing this close to the lake on a slant is not great, so I don't push my mobility too much. I then take a second to check in on the objective.
I don't even see any eggs. Are we sweeping for them?
Nikhujo, for personal reasons, has been trying to be more of an objective, focused, and effective leader lately. This event was a big opportunity for me to practice that, which also came with a lot of out-of-game learning, an opportunity I'm very thankful for, to reflect on how to strike a balance between true to character as a mean character versus playing to lift as an out-of-game contributor to the game community and atmosphere. My first quick takeaway here, it's tricky and risky to make a mean character into a leader, because the more you have a plot spotlight or authority, the more out-of-game responsible you are for the meta considerations, to be out-of-game inclusive, welcoming, kind. That guy was shackled, but I pursued him and broke his line of sight, which frees him. Oops, sorry. I make my way to the other edge to get a more complete view and feel for the objective at hand, looking for eggs, staying on task.
Easy. Ah, dang. That would have been fun.
I hear a 3 count, try to sprint in for a surprise attack. I don't make it. So I square up.
I don't see any eggs anymore. 10 silver.
But then there's another chance. Hooray, another surprise attack. At this point, I opt to out-of-game check in with a plot marshal.
I don't know where they are.
Drew here is unsure,
too chaotic for my nose to work.
but I throw in an immersive in-game reason for the uncertainty.
From the front as well.
So again, with this immersion for character versus meta for community balance,
We need to guard the rear as well.
if you want to make a blunt, judgy, zealous, rude, or otherwise unwelcoming character like Nikhujo is, you may want to find ways to keep those character traits separated from how they lead and communicate on a battlefield. That personality type for a character is easier and safer to navigate well in personal and private interactions.
Has anyone found any eggs?
When you get loud or act like a leader on a battlefield, people work with you. People look to you. And maybe they still have to earn your respect if you're the judgy character, but aim for direct rather than mean. Invite the communication and participation. I'm still figuring out what that might look like for Nikhujo as her and my positions evolve, but look at this teamwork. Nikhujo and Deneb. They had personal roleplay a few events before already, and he knows how to call on her directly. He knows how to work with her without insulting her. And y'all gotta know I do love being a runner in-game and out-of-game. A Beata character named Cambridge is reporting news to Nikhujo. He and I had only just met for this event,
We have a cache of 5.
but he's giving her info because she keeps shouting about it and asking for it. Again, making yourself either in-game or out-of-game a leader
Eggs on their person? Are we searching
is
them?
making yourself a team player. In so many regards, it's important to bear that in mind. Nikhujo started as a sullen, brooding, runaway character. She never used to be this loud. This is an evolution for her.
Hey, you're the researcher, right? There's a cache of 5 eggs right outside the entrance of the cave that we found, okay? There's a boulder to the right of the entrance of the cave cave. They're right behind there. That's where I'm gonna run them to when we find more. Okay, keep yourself safe out there. Guard those eggs and shout if something comes for them.
Pretty soon I start to out-of-game realize that there is some player confusion about the mod's boundaries or expectations. I begin to consider how I can investigate to help this game flow.
Deneb, where did you find them?
My priority is keeping in-game, having characters relay information.
And go up the hill? Okay.
But I also know, since I have some staff experience out of game, it is okay to ask plot staff clarifying questions.
They're coming from that way, though.
Yeah, well.
This one's glowing.
I saw that packet the instant before it was hurled at me. Squat dodge it. Gotta hit the deck every time. I was only nimble enough to do it twice, unfortunately, so I had to burn a dodge on that sleep. But now that I'm engaged, it's time for aggression.
10 silver, 10 silver, 10 silver, 10 silver, 13. Okay. Do I smell any eggs on you?
No.
Search your
In-game searching for information as well.
I need katanas, that's what I...
Deneb gets one paralyzed here, and I was going to try to use that body of the person, the NPC, as a meat shield, but the next wave spawned in too fast.
Wait. Meat shield. Oh, that came in.
I can't tell in-game where this cave is supposed to end, so it's time for questions.
I'm gonna go talk to that researcher.
Though I try to keep as much of these conversations in-game if possible.
Hey, researcher! Researcher! Is there a number of eggs that you're looking for specifically?
I'm not sure how many are left.
Okay. Do you think we need to clear out all of the people, or are there going to be an endless flow of them? Do you have any intel about how big the forces were here?
Fortunately, I have no idea.
That's okay. We just see them coming in from up a hill a little bit. Are we in a cave? Is that what this was described as? Okay.
That was a quick out-of-game question about the cave.
That goes back and up the hill a little bit. Should we search up into that region?
And then right back to in-game descriptions of the confusion.
Do you see?
I'm trying to out-of-game figure out the encounter.
I think the cave also curves around to the right in there. Should we be checking in that direction too?
Out-of-game Susie wants to understand the setup and mechanics of the mod, but I'm asking in-game to keep things immersed.
I'm sure. No, I'm sure. Oh, so fine. I just any information you have about like a number of eggs, a number of the thing we're facing, or directions we should go. If you figure out.
While I was finding out in-game information from the researcher, the folks at the other end of the path found out of game that it's unsafe to fight past the boats onto the rocks there, so we aren't supposed to be curving around the lake. Hold was called, field was repositioned. In-game, Nikhujo wants to focus on the objective and get out of there. Out-of-game, Susie wants to help the game flow and get clarification. So I do a lot of in-game, out-of-game, back and forth information relaying here. Ask a marshal out-of-game, get in character to talk about it in-game. I feel confident out-of-game about how this game works. I know when I work with this staff and these marshals, and I can quickly convert their out-of-game descriptions into an immersive message. I do want y'all to know that anyone at LARP can do these things. Players are always welcome to ask questions, talk to a marshal off on the sidelines, to assist with the flow and keep things immersed.
Nick, can I have you out-of-game for a second? We are trying to figure out in-game if we need to explore this tunnel and that tunnel.
This is not a tunnel.
Not a tunnel.
I get these plot clarifications from the plot marshal
so
in the
I
field.
don't smell any more eggs.
It is good for you guys to go.
Okay. The researcher says we have enough. Okay. I don't think there's any more that we can get from in here. I think we have enough from that single clutch.
I get a few hints out of game.
I don't think there's any more to find in here.
I relay that information in game.
Okay. I think this army is endless, and I think we found all the eggs we can. We can probably leave, since we have a clutch to give to the researcher. That would be my guess.
I would agree. I was wondering that way.
And I keep saying, it's my best guess, this is probably what happens, because I want to avoid metagaming while still trying to be clear about my understanding of the bounds of the mod.
Are you guys okay? I'm leaving. I can't smell any more eggs. The hallway's too narrow. There's too many beds. I don't think there's more than we can get.
We came back because if everybody walked past an egg, none of them were going to find it.
You were double checking?
Yeah.
Okay, and I double checked the situation up there. There's nothing better we can do up there. The hallway's too tight. There's too many enemies. And I don't think there's more eggs. Would it be beneficial to you if we wiped out as many of these people as possible? Or is it just about saving the eggs?
I check in for any other in-game objectives, any other reasons to fight more. When I roleplay questions with NPCs in-game, I try to keep things open-ended. Like, I will offer multiple conversational escape strategies for them to take, if you will, so I don't put an NPC on the spot with hard, black and white questions that demand a confident answer. Also, as a writer, I like to make sure my Hook or Benny NPCs are prepared for the encounter by knowing the end condition, if there is one. I like to prepare everyone for as much in-game roleplay as possible. She's an amazing improviser and role player. It was really fun to work with her as a researching NPC.
But I don't think there's any more eggs. So if you guys want to do a fighting retreat and wipe out some more of these guys, that's not frowned upon. Sounds fun. You want to fight any more with me? You all
now,
right?
with all that communicating complete, out-of-game understanding clarified, in-game information immersively relayed.
Any of these that we wipe out will be beneficial.
I post up on my favorite spot at the edge of the line.
There really are a lot of them.
And keep the fighting retreat motivation in mind.
10 silver. 10 silver. 10 silver. 10 silver. 10 silver.
I linger a little bit here to see if they'll let me get behind them. But nah, there's a whole line of them. There's at least 3 dudes keeping eyes on me. Jeebus and I would circle them really well, and we know it. But after enough hesitance, Jeebus starts orally defining my step distance. He's verbally communicating. This is an excellent technique. I'm focusing on this line of 3 dudes here, and he's telling me aloud that I have 10 steps to close the distance to get to him. Super helpful to have somebody on the line informing me about the pace that the line is moving behind me.
We can wipe out is helpful, but all the eggs are gone.
Body dodge another packet here. If you're loud-mouthing and giving commands on a battlefield like Nikhujo's been doing, you do get targeted by a decent amount of spells and packets.
10 silver. 10 silver. 10 silver.
Resist. No, dodge.
What?
I don't know. It's not up to me to know what's going on.
I see him. Thank you.
Yep.
10 silver.
Now that guy in the middle of the NPC line drops. And I cut in to try to isolate the guy on the edge, but it is a poor attempt. Their line is still really too strong. Even with one of them dropped, I don't make a lot of positioning progress in there.
10 silver. What? Got it. 10 silver.
The exit here is pretty low pressure. A fighting retreat.
Oh, my hair. All messed up. I'll do it.
Seems kind of low stakes. Nothing is really dire. But it's still worth announcing when you're leaving your spot in the battle to refit. If you're making an opening in your line, announce it to your allies. I step off to refit. The fight gradually comes to me. It's actually looking a little trickier now. An ally got charmed briefly, and our line was breaking up. So this Sylvanborn here decides to help Nikhujo unrequested.
I didn't ask for that.
This is some juicy in-game tension, and we fought over it later as well.
I'm well aware that Nikhujo would kill me in a heartbeat.
Out of game, we had a couple specific check-ins, me and Soren, about the intensity level of their cultural animosity. The personal PvP was delightfully fun. Shout out to Soren. In-game abrasive, out-of-game friendly. Go team. I have a little bit more to brainstorm about using a wall of force or something to contain the enemies. But the researcher gets some sudden confidence here. You can see out-of-game Nick, the plot marshal for the mod, comes in and tells her to end the mod.
I don't think we can contain anymore.
So now we know we can make our exit with haste.
Okay. Oh, are we gonna rift? All right, rift is starting.
Oh, but now Tyrion wants to be a problem for the monsters?
For the rift.
I would want to join into this fun, just for a second.
Tyrion, we're coming to rift. You coming?
Anyone behind?
But I guess we all gotta get out of here as a group. Such is the nature of using a rift to travel. And we are done.
We riffed out 2. We riffed out 3.
Come join the battle at alliancelarp.com.
Thank you, NPCs.
Stay tuned for more regional battles and reflections.